Are you wasting your time working out with machines? You're about to find out. Roll it! Yo, what's the crack, my happy face pullers, your personal trainer T-Talks, changing people's lives for the better through strength and fitness. Alright, so this video is meant to show you the value of using machines to achieve your fitness goals. If you've been watching my content for a while, you might have noticed that I hardly ever use machines for my training. Is there a reason for that? Do I hate machine-based work? Not really. I don't use machines because there is none where I train. I have to rely entirely on my own body weight and external weights to get the job done, but I would use them if I had access to them. However, do I think that people should use them? Well, to answer that question, I'm going to lay out some general guidelines for you to keep in mind when looking at your specific circumstances. Smash the like button to make this channel more anabolic. Subscribe, hit the bell, blah blah blah, you know the drill. And most importantly, watch till the end or you might have a high chance of losing all your gains forever. Generally speaking, I would advise the vast majority of the population against the excessive use of machines when it comes to training. If you only want to goof around in the gym, take selfies with your mates, and show off your pump on social media, that's a completely different story. But if you expect to see improvements on your physique and fitness, I would advise against a protocol that heavily relies on machines. Conversely, I would only recommend using machines in the second half of your training session after your work with external weights is done. Given the alarming sedentary lifestyle of modern life, many folks are losing the ability to just move, let alone exerting force at high intensities or speed. If you feel weak and unhealthy because you haven't been taking care of yourself for the most part of your life and you finally want to make a change for the better, you should be getting onto a novice training program mostly based on multi-joint movements using both calisthenics and external weights. If this is you, your first step in your journey should be to reconnect with your body and learn basic movement patterns. That's it. And for that purpose, machines are not the best way to go about it. Common deficiencies that you might have to address at the start are exercises that originate at the hip, movements that require a heavy activation of the glutes, overhead motions, poor engagement of the core, lack of unilateral stability in the sagittal plane, inability to breathe correctly as fatigue accumulates, performing explosive movements, you name it. A program mostly based on multi-joint exercises where you have to either move external objects or your own body weight will address all these deficiencies from day one. Sure, you'll have your "this is so freaking hard" moment, but you will improve your fitness at last. Machines, on the other hand, do a pretty good job at masking people's shortcomings, so noobs in the gym feel better about themselves during training. However, the reality is that you will not make substantial progress in aspects of your fitness that will be applicable to the real world. Meaning, in situations where you actually have to move your body in space and handle external objects without the assistance of a machine guiding you through a line of action. All I said up to this point in the video applies to untrained individuals. If you're a beginner, chances are that you've developed a bare minimum level of physical strength in compound lifts like pull-ups, dips, the overhead press, the squats, the deadlift, bench press, barbell rows, lunges, etc. Then you could, and in some cases you should, add machine work to your training. However, let's not forget that the most important goal here is to hone in your technique in all of the exercises I just mentioned, because you're going to be doing them for decades. The truth is that you're likely to achieve most of the results that you're ever going to get throughout your entire lifting career by getting better and stronger at these basic compound lifts. Now, having said all that, I'm going to share with you all the instances where I think that trainees could benefit from using machines in their training. Right after mobilizing your entire body from top to bottom with a general warm-up, I don't see a problem with a trainee jumping onto a machine in order to complete a few minutes of low-intensity work. Rowers and bikes are the ones I have access to, but if you enjoy other options, like a stair climber or a treadmill, hey, all the power to you, knock yourself out. Machines are also very effective in adding cardiovascular work after you've completed the most strenuous, higher intensity part of your training. If you go for a steady state, you could look at it as a cool down where the goal is no longer to impose stress on your body, but rather to accumulate time doing a low intensity activity you enjoy. You're just gonna improve your body's ability to mobilize oxygen in your system, which is great for overall health while having a good time. I think low-impact machines are one of the best options for those days when you don't hit the weights. Hiking is the outdoor alternative I personally like better, but if the weather is shit, you can always do steady-state cardio while listening to music, binging a series on Netflix, listening to podcasts, whatever. If you're a professional rower, it makes more sense for you to spend more time on a rowing machine than doing some other types of cardio, if only because you're targeting the same muscle groups that later on will be key for your performance on competition day. Another reason why machines are great is that many are low impact. If you're someone who pounds the road for many miles on a regular basis throughout the year, steady-state machines could give you an opportunity to improve your cardiovascular system without further joint punishment. In order for you to reduce the risk of overuse injury, you might want to include more joint-friendly activities. Machines are fantastic in this context. I want to use a typical example of a body part that people find difficult to engage most of the times, the latissimus dorsi, aka the lats. I'd have no problem recommending a trainee to perform a few sets of, let's say, unilateral seated cable rows to develop a better mind-muscle connection in this area. Doing some pre-activation work could be beneficial for the lifter so that he or she could perform better doing free weights or bodyweight movements that target those muscle groups. Let's say that you want to prioritize a particular muscle group during a training mesocycle. For example, your hamstrings. Then hamstring curls for high repetitions after compound movements could be an excellent choice to expose this area of your body to the maximum amount of working volume it can tolerate per session. If you try to do that with free weights only, chances are that other smaller groups could get fatigue much earlier, like your spinal erectors or your grip. This could definitely limit the amount of work you could complete to stimulate a particular muscle group. And the exact same can be said for other body parts, like your back. The back muscles can take a whole lot, and the truth is that they are usually not stimulated to their full potential because other smaller muscle groups give up first. For example, the biceps during chin-ups, the grip during rows, or the spinal erectors during Romanian deadlifts. However, let me repeat that, as a general rule of thumb, it would be smart to include machine work after your main compound lifts for that day have been completed. Then, and only then, if you still feel like certain areas of your body could still use some extra work, then knock yourself out. This approach is great because it would allow you to stimulate a given muscle group to its full potential without being limited by smaller body parts that tend to fatigue quicker. Right after completing a highly fatiguing mesocycle, you could temporarily replace some of the compound lifts you would normally perform with external weights for machine exercises. Sometimes it's not a bad idea to give your body the occasional time off to dissipate the fatigue that you have accumulated for months due to hard training. Let's say that you were doing weighted pull-ups for the past few months. A lat pull-down with straps could be a great option for active recovery in this context. Another example would be a horizontal press in a machine. The predetermined path would remove the tremendous stabilization element a normal flat bench press would require from your shoulders. As you can tell by now, it's pretty obvious that machines do a pretty good job at providing training stimulus while de-emphasizing certain areas of your body. Let's say that you broke your wrist for whatever reason. What's preventing you then from getting a good lower body session with leg presses, leg extensions, hamstring curls, calf raises, and some adduction as well as abduction machines? Is this style of training athletic and will it have great carryover to your sport? Probably not, but who cares at this point? It's much better than feeling sorry for yourself because you think that you can't train at all. And the reality is that the person who's been training with machines throughout the recovery will retain more muscle mass and will have a much easier time going back to his normal training routine. If there is a will, there is a way. And under certain circumstances, machines are the only way. And lastly, the last reason to use machines is because you generally like them. And that's it, as simple as that. If that makes you happy and that's the reason why you keep coming back to the gym, go for it. These are the 10 scenarios I can think of where I would consider machines beneficial for the trainee to keep making progress. But if you can think of another situation I haven't mentioned yet, please let me know in the comment section down below. By the way, I'm curious to know if you use machines, and if so, when? Alright, peeps of the interweb, I really hope you found value in today's video. If you learned something new, I would really appreciate if you could drop me a like. Subscribe to the channel and click on the bell to get notified when I release new content. I'm out of here. In the meantime, stay fit, stay strong, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more gains. Peace!